Every enterprise leader now has an AI mandate. The board expects transformation. The market expects efficiency. Teams expect clarity. But the business still has to run. You still have to close the books, move goods, pay suppliers, and serve customers without interruption. The question is whether AI can deliver value at scale without adding more complexity, more risk, and more fragmentation. And right now, for most companies, the answer is not yet. The investment is real, the results are not. Not because companies lack ambition, not because the models aren't powerful enough, but because AI is being layered onto businesses that were never designed to act as one. AI still struggles to work where it matters most, across the connected business scenarios that span functions, systems, and decisions. 3/4 of AI pilots have no clear path to scale. Nearly half can't get past data quality and access issues. The issue isn't the AI models, it's the operating model underneath it. 3 gaps keep showing up. The first is business process context. Generic models can read your data, but they don't understand how your business actually runs. They don't know that a purchase order kicks off a chain of receipts, matches, approvals, and compliance checks. They see tables, they don't see operations. The second is data connection. AI is often layered on top of disconnected systems, outdated processes, and fragmented data. So it's asked to be intelligent about a business it can only see in pieces. The result, answers that sound right, but aren't grounded in the full picture. The third is governance. AI that can't be audited, controlled, or trusted doesn't get deployed in the core of the enterprise. It gets demonstrated. There's a difference. That's why so many companies have demos that impress and deployments that stall. And many of the providers promising to fix this are building from the outside in. They're layering intelligence on top of systems they don't own, data they didn't generate, and processes they never run. You can't close the gap by adding more tools to the same fragmented foundation. This is where SAP begins. Enterprise AI needs 3 things to deliver real value. SAP has all 3, not as a roadmap, as deployed capability. First, deep process and industry knowledge. 50 years of business process expertise encoded in our applications, our knowledge graph, and our purpose-built models. It knows how finance connects to procurement, how a supply chain interacts with manufacturing, and what compliance rules govern a transaction. That knowledge is industry-specific. SAP understands that batch recall means something in life sciences, or what tolerance limits means in automotive. Over 120 mission-critical processes across 25 different industries, not learned from public data, but earned. Next, semantically rich business data. Our data carries business meaning. A customer is linked to a contract. A material is tied to an order. A supplier is scored for risk. AI reasons over real business context across SAP and non-SAP sources, the full picture, not just fragments of it. Third, enterprise-grade governance. Governance is in the architecture, not an afterthought on top. Every AI action is auditable, every agent operates within guardrails defined by the business, identity controls, compliance frameworks, and access management travel with the agent from build to production. SAP is the only enterprise AI platform with ISO/IEC 42001 certification for AI governance. SAP has been in governance, risk, and compliance longer than most AI companies have existed. This isn't a feature we've added, it's the operating system we've always run. That foundation makes something possible that wasn't possible before. Not a better version of an old model, a different model entirely. This is the autonomous enterprise. People set the direction, AI executes. This is not a business run by AI, it's a business where people finally get to lead at the level they were hired for. The decisions that require judgment, creativity, accountability, that's where your people spend their time. AI handles the coordination and execution across business operations end to end, and that is the shift. When an organization moves to this model, three things change. First, your people do their best work. Agents handle the routine end to end. The reconciliations, the matching, the status chasing, that work runs itself now. Your talent shifts to the decisions that move the business. Your business responds before teams convene. A supplier slips, demand shifts. The response doesn't wait for a meeting or an email chain. AI agents coordinate across the business in real time, so signal to action without lag. You move fast because you can trust the system. Every AI action is governed, auditable, and traceable, not added later, built in from the start. In every other AI paradigm, moving faster means accepting more risk. Here, governance is the reason you can move faster. This isn't a technology upgrade, it's a new operating model. Let me make the architecture simple. You can think of this as 5 elements that work together. First, there's one front door for your people, and that's Joule. It's where they go to ask questions, kick off work, and see what's happening, instead of bouncing around 10 different systems. Second, there's one operational core. This is the SAP Autonomous Suite. It runs the day-to-day of the company: finance, spend, supply chain, HR, customer, all talking to each other instead of acting like a separate firms under one roof. Third, there's deep industry intelligence. That's SAP Industry AI. It's where we bake in how banking, manufacturing, energy, or retail actually works. The regulations, the processes, the edge cases that generic AI doesn't know exist. Underneath all that is one AI foundation, the SAP Business AI platform. That's the brain and the safety system. Process context, unified data, and governance in one place. So agents can act across the business and you can still audit every step. And the way you get from where you are today to that model is agent-led transformation. This is how we move to this architecture without asking you to stop the business in order to transform the business. For 30 years, people have adapted to the system. They learn the navigation, they memorize the transaction codes, they spend more time moving between applications than doing the work those applications were built to support. Joule inverts that. Instead of navigating to the work, people state their intent, and Joule brings the work to them. The right data, the right workflow, the right agents, coordinated across your entire landscape. Not just SAP, every system the business runs on. That workspace is Joule Work. One place to direct the business. You ask a question in plain language and go straight to action. Joule surfaces what matters to you and your role before you ask. You see every agent working on your behalf, and when the standard tools don't fit, you can build your own right there. It's not a chatbot bolted onto a menu. It's not a co-pilot waiting for a prompt. It's a system that adapts to the person, not the other way around. A real new human advantage. The Autonomous Suite is the operational core, organized around 5 domains: finance, spend, supply chain, HR, and customer experience. Inside every domain, the model is the same. People direct, assistants coordinate, agents execute. The domains move as a single system. So a decision in finance shows up in supply chain. A change in demand triggers a response in procurement. So there's no integration tax, no stitched together stack. The result is a business that runs leaner and bends without breaking. Most enterprises today are assembling AI function by function, a co-pilot here, a point solution over there. Each one adds intelligence to a silo. None of them talk to each other. The Autonomous Suite is one system, and that's the structural difference. Take spend, for example, from category strategy through payment. This is one of the clearest examples of why autonomy matters. Because spend is not one task. It's a chain of decisions: category management and sourcing, contracts, requisition and buying, receiving, invoicing and payment. Today, a lot of that work depends on people, moving information from one step to the next. In the autonomous suite, that changes. Each key role gets an assistant. Each assistant coordinates specialized agents with the skill to handle its part of the process. So not just one task, the full flow of work, end to end. In a billion-dollar enterprise, this domain can put millions of dollars in play. Market intelligence value, working capital optimization, and touchless processing savings. So this is not just a productivity story, it is a profit and loss story. When spend runs as one connected flow, the business doesn't just move faster, it captures value that used to leak through delays, manual handoffs, and missed savings. Now let's zoom in one level deeper from the spend domain to just one assistant and look at how this changes the day-to-day work of a sourcing system. Today, in most large organizations, a standard sourcing event still takes a lot of manual effort. It can take hours just to build the RFP. It can take days to analyze bids and understand what's really on the table. Negotiation is often limited, especially on non-strategic spend, because there's simply not enough time or capacity to push every opportunity. And cycle times are long, which means savings are often left on the table. Now look at what changes with a sourcing assistant. The assistant takes the requirements and builds the RFP in a fraction of the time. It pulls in market intelligence, supplier history, and past sourcing data, so that when the bids come back, the team is not started from scratch. The assistant does the heavy lifting, comparing responses, identifying patterns, flagging risks, and recommending the best options. It can also suggest negotiation moves based on what has worked before, so the team can capture savings they may not have had the time or visibility to find manually. In our benchmarks, that translates into real operation impact. RFP creation time cut by more than half, bid analysis time cut by more than half, shorter cycle times, and most importantly, 2.5% to 5% additional savings on that spend. But the human story is just as important. The category manager does not disappear. The role just gets better. They move from filling out templates and chasing spreadsheets and manually comparing bids to become a true strategic advisor, deciding where to push, where to accept, where to manage risk, and where to create more value for the business. So this is what we mean when we say your people do their best work. This is where SAP's advantage gets sharper. Autonomous domains cover every major function of the business. Industry AI goes deeper into the regulations, workflows, and value chains that are specific to how your industry operates. Because a business process does not look the same in every industry. Asset management in energy, manufacturing in life sciences, commerce in retail, and project delivery in professional services all carry very different regulations, risks, workflows, and measures of value. And this is why generic AI falls short. It may understand the words. It does not understand the operating reality. SAP does. We've spent 50 years co-innovating with the companies that define these industries. That gives us the process knowledge, data context, and regulatory logic to build AI that is not generic first and customized later, but industry aware from the very start. You'll see a few of the first industry AI scenarios here, but the point is not the list. The point is the pattern. SAP is applying autonomy to the workflows that matter most in each industry. Here, for example, is autonomous asset management. The story is on the timeline. An asset goes down. Today, that triggers a cascade of phone calls, tickets, and tribal knowledge that can take days to resolve. In an autonomous enterprise, 4 assistants: a reliability engineer, a maintenance screener, a dispatcher, and a second reliability engineer now coordinate the entire response. From the moment an anomaly is detected to the moment a technician walks up to the equipment with the right information, the numbers on the right are what a CFO in this industry cares about. 10 to 30% reduction in unplanned downtime, 10 to 30% in maintenance costs, 5 to 30% in service efficiency, one workflow in one industry, moving 3 lines on the income statement. That's the pattern. Industry AI doesn't add intelligence to the edge of operations, it restructures how operations respond. Everything we've shown you runs on one foundation, the SAP Business AI platform. So this is where agents get built, where they get context, and where they get governed. There are over 300 agents built by partners in Joule Studio already, 50 years of encoded process expertise, 7.3 million data fields in our SAP Knowledge Graph. When agents query your data, they get it right. 98% SQL reasoning accuracy, and it governs at enterprise scale. Over 55,000 live agents managed across SAP AI Agent Hub across customers today. For an executive, the point is simple. This is not AI sitting in a sandbox. It's AI built, governed, and monitored where real business work happens. So how do you get from today's environment to this model without blowing up the business? We called the path agent-led transformation. In plain terms, it means we use AI agents not just inside the business processes, but inside the transformation itself. If you already have SAP, 3 things change versus a traditional ERP or cloud program. First, the path is faster. Agents do the manual work that slows these projects down. Process mapping, data cleansing, testing, that's all work for the agents now, not the consultants. Second, the economics are predictable. You're not signing up for a multi-year open-end spend that only pays off at the end. Value shows up early and keeps compounding. You see savings and efficiency while the transformation is still in flight, not just once the program is done. Third, the risk program is lower because the same governance we use to control AI in production is applied to the transformation itself. So you see what's changing, what's being automated, and where the risk sits. And of course, you can stop and adjust at any step. The tooling underneath SAP LeanIX, SAP Signavio, Joule Studio, Integration Suite, Joule for consultants and developers, that's how we make it real. But the point at your level is simple. Faster path, more predictable cost, lower risk, and value from day 1 instead of year 3. This diagram shows migration and modernization on the technical side and business transformation on the value side. They're stacked because that's how customers experience them. Together, not separately. Cloud transformations demand disproportionate effort and cost. Legacy architecture blocks the creation of truly autonomous domains. Technical debt and siloed data make end-to-end automation impossible. These aren't automation adoption barriers, they're structural constraints, and they require structural solutions. The toolchain at the bottom is what makes it real. SAP LeanIX, SAP Signavio, Joule Studio, Integration Suite, plus partner tools and migration assistance. Joule for consultants and Joule for developers sit on top. So this is not a one-time project. It's a continuous operating rhythm. Discover and onboard, modernize and run, continuously innovate. The transformation doesn't end, it becomes the way you operate. But, of course, it's worth noting that not every company is starting from a complex legacy landscape. Some are making a different decision. Build the right foundation now before complexity hardens around them. For these companies, SAP Grow is the fastest path into the autonomous enterprise. Start with finance, supply chain, or HR, and expand when the business demands it. Packages sized to your stage, not somebody else's. Go live in weeks rather than quarters, not fiscal years. Fixed scope implementations from certified partners, transparent pricing, the fastest, low-risk entry point to cloud ERP. And the platform won't need replacing when you double in size. The destination is the same, the on-ramp is different. The system is built to scale with you. Finally, best of luck with your AI future with the autonomous enterprise, and at SAP, we'd like to help. A lot more information is, of course, available at sap.com. Goodbye.